Hello everyone. I am planning on doing a reaction video today, though I've tried to stay out of all the craziness that's been going on. I hope those of us who are like myself and are forced to be out of quarantine are doing okay. Hopefully you're not dealing with too many Karens and Chads. And for those of you in quarantine, can we trade? So I know I haven't been posting a lot lately. I've been more active on Twitter, and any of those who do follow my Twitter are probably just noticing that I am just sharing a whole bunch of stuff from my K-pop group, and you probably by now know I am a Mon baby and I support Monster X. It's just that time of year, and honestly, I've been trying to stay out of politics. I've been trying to stay out of wherever the hell everything else is and trying to stay neutral, though it's very difficult sometimes. Um, just spent most of my time working on my book, reorganizing everything, and so I figured you guys didn't want to see that because it was rather boring. I'd either be sitting at my computer working on my book, get ready to be published, which I'm pretty set so far on my deadline of getting it published by the end of this year. And of course, reorganizing everything. A friend gave us a load of free pallets, and a friend gave us a load of free wood that we can cut. So the homestead is doing good. Everything's been quiet. Boys will be homeschooling this year, so that's going to be fun. And I went and purchased them 2 Chromebooks. I will also be purchasing myself another computer and some programs and stuff, so I can start doing these videos a little bit more and have a better thing than my movie maker, which is what I currently use and have grumbled with. um, Hoping everyone is doing well and keeping their health up. Today I decided to talk about, yep, I am going there. I am going to talk about Mr. Floyd. But I am also going to be talking about a Dr. Rashid, and I really hope I am saying your name correctly. I will do a better summary up in my blog if you guys are interested. I'll leave the link down below. And I will also be setting up a Patreon shortly, so keep an eye out for that. If you follow my Twitter account, you will probably get a really good update on that, or you can just check my little side thing in my blog for when I get my links set up. I'm sure I have the links for my Twitter, my YouTube channel, my blog, of course. So I'll just add to that eventually. But here we go. So I will start out. I'm not going to summarize Mr. Floyd's video too much. I'm going to talk about Dr. Rashid Abazi more than I will be talking about him. So I will summarize this video for you guys, and I will also leave a link down below. Hopefully you guys can watch either of the videos before they get removed or whatever. I will put a trigger warning here as well for anyone. If you don't want to listen to me comparing these videos, I'm going to be more talking about the comment sections than the actual videos themselves, and obviously I do not have a computer program as of yet to do a reaction video to the video itself. I'm working on it. Hang in there, I'm doing it. So let's start off with Dr. Rashid Abazi, who is a respiratory expert that's worked in the UK's National Health Services for over 30 plus years. His wife Alia is also a doctor, and they have a daughter named Zamba. I do not know if I pronounced that right. It's Zainab, who was born with a respiratory condition. The hospital had decided to remove her life support and not take into consideration that Dr. Rashid and his wife wanted to try at least one more possible treatment that could have saved her life. Now, there's a hint that they weren't going to let the doctors remove said life support. They actually ended up suing the hospital for the decision that they did. I don't know if they've won the case or not. I haven't done much research as of yet. I just simply want to talk about the videos themselves. Now, throughout the video when police arrived, which both videos were from the actual cameras that the police have on them, and one is UK police and the other one's US police, so they're across the seas from each other. So I'm not even comparing American police to American police. I'm literally comparing two separate police enforcements to each other in two separate countries. And their reaction to non-white, as if you did not guess it from Dr. Rashid Abazi's name, he was not white, or his wife. In fact, I think they're Muslim from what I'm guessing, or at least they appear to be Muslim in the clothes that they were wearing. And I grew up around a Sikh that people thought was Muslim, so I'm sorry, I can just know first impression people are going to go, they're Muslims! So, as I said, I will leave a better description in my blog about these two. So I will just do a quick summary for you guys. So I am going to summarize Mr. Rashid. And I'm actually going to pause my video right here and save it because my video maker is a dick and an asshole and a cheap program. Because otherwise, if I get too long, it won't let me save it and crash, and I have to re-record all of this. So give me just a second. I will probably do this one more time after this. Okay, hopefully that helps. I also disconnected my computer from the internet. It might help, it might not. Maybe that's why my last video I couldn't save, because it's controversial and we can't have controversial shit. Anyway, so I will set the scene for you guys. So in the beginning of Dr. Rashid's video, the officer walks into the hospital room. Now, Dr. Rashid, who didn't really speak a word to police until later on, is sitting by his daughter's bedside holding her hand, like a father should be doing in said situation. He looks rather sad and not necessarily willing, not like meaning to seem off on guard to the police officers. He seems more just a mourning father who knows he's about to watch his daughter die. His wife is sitting next to him in, of course, garments that screams Muslim to anyone who is just not familiar with the culture. As I said, I don't know if they're Muslim. I'm not sure. I haven't looked into this enough. If you guys want to continue the conversation after this, I might be willing to do more research. I might even do it anyway, but I'd probably post it more on my blog than I would on my YouTube channel. But if you guys want, I can also do a second part on this. So summing up, you have a girl who is, I believe, about 6 years old, laying on her side as her dad holds her hand, and the mother sits next to her. The police come into the room and ask them to step outside so they can talk to them. Elia, the wife, told them that they were welcome to talk to them there in the hospital room. The officer replies with, "Your behavior is some concern to the staff." Now, both the officer and the wife, who are very much the ones talking during this time, are keeping a really neutral tone, being very respectful and calm. And at first, I was kind of curious why there would be such an issue later on in this video. And also, I'm kind of wondering why their behavior would be concerned to staff, considering the fact that staff literally had just informed them that they were removing their daughter's life support, which the wife goes to explain in the next encounter, explaining that they had just been informed about a half an hour beforehand that the tube for their daughter's life support was going to be taken out and their daughter is going to die. Now, my question is, what would your situation be in this? How would you react to that kind of situation? Either as a parent, as a hospital staff, as an officer, or just as a person in general. I'm kind of curious. Now, I'm kind of also curious about what the hospital staff told the police officers before arrival, because it apparently had been about half an hour, and I think it's fairly universal that police officers respond within about 30 minutes around the world. I mean, I live in a small town surrounded by small towns that are all about 30 minutes from each other, and that's about our average response on the occasions that I've had to call police. Though at my work, I will admit that when I did have to call the police the few times I have on someone, it's about 5 minute, 10 minute, but that's more literally, the hospital is about, the police station is literally about a block away from where my work is, so that's kind of biased in itself. But just on average, I think that's about right. You know, if you guys have a different one, but I think that is about right universally. The officer again asked them to step outside. The wife starts stuttering and asking a question, which the officer pretty much ignores her, again saying to step outside, and she asks for him to listen to her. Now, we are finally getting to the, I'm trying to think. As a writer, I should know this word by heart. But it's basically when you are watching a tension and you're trying to figure out what is all this drama leading up to. And then a character says something and you go, oh, well, guess what? That's when this officer did that. Not really, because the concern isn't about you, it's about Dr. Rashid. Of course, naturally, Dr. Rashid and his wife are going to refuse to leave the hospital bed side of their dying daughter. Now, during this encounter, we also see a hospital staff member in the background on the other side of the hospital bed who, from what I can tell, is proceeding to remove said life support of said daughter. Keep that in mind as I continue reading this summary. The officers end up dragging Mrs. Rashid, or Alia, out of the hospital room. You can hear her corduroying screams. You don't really see her except for a brief moment before she is taken out of the hospital room. The main encounter is when the police officers, and it was more than one, I think it was 2 or 3 of them, tackled Dr. Rashid, who was calmly sitting in a chair, and proceeded to tackle him to the ground and drag him out of the hospital room of his dying daughter, who is currently having her life support removed in the process of all this that is going on. While this encounter is going on, one of the police officers even told Dr. Rashid that he brought this upon himself. Again, I am really wondering what the hospital said to the police when they called them. Because I can understand asking a police officer to be present in the room while they deal with the patient and her parents and remove the life support. I can completely understand the hospital staff would like that. However, that is not what happened here. There was at least 4 officers, from what I counted, 4 or 5 of them, during this incident, who tackled and removed the parents while hospital staff was removing the life support of their dying daughter. I don't understand why they couldn't have just stood by. So if something did happen, they were there to back up either the hospital staff or the parents. That is not what happened. That's what you expect would happen in a situation like this, not what just happened. A female officer, upon Dr. Rashid complaining about chest pains and asking for his medication, says that they will take them to the AE, and they were absolutely fine with that. If I remember correctly, the AE is the emergency room version of our ER here in America. I believe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. She also tells him to act responsibly, that he's an adult, and that he is an educated person. If I may. You just pour him out of the hospital room that he was being calm in, holding his daughter's hand, as the staff was removing life support from said child, dragged him out by 2 or 3 police officers, handcuffed him, forced him to the ground, and told him to act responsibly, act like an adult, and that he was an educated person. Let that sink in. Just let that sink in. Eventually, Mr. Rashid did collapse. He became very slumped on the floor, and they ended up having to drag him up while demanding for him to stand. And we also get to see him on a trolley, is what they call it. We'd call it a gurney. Basically, it is a hospital bed with wheels. He is strapped and handcuffed. It is later pointed out that Mr. Rashid had a heart attack. Remember, he was asking for his medicine. If I may, I would like to add in the screaming of Mr. Floyd saying he couldn't breathe. The only difference is I did not hear anyone going, "Get off of him, he can't breathe," unlike in Mr. Floyd's case. Again, I am going to pause this video and come back, so if there's a little skip thing, you know why. There we go. I don't know what that was about. Okay, so we find out later on in the video that the family of this little girl ended up suing the hospital. I'm not sure if they won or not. I know that they did sue the hospital. As I said, I haven't looked much into this. I will later. I have a final project I need to be working on, so I really shouldn't be doing this, but I've had a few. I got done with most of my stuff that was due this week, so I figured why not. Now, between these 2 videos, We have Mr. Floyd, who was freaking out a bit, versus the parents who stayed calm the whole time and tried explaining the situation. Yeah. So we also have the thing of Mr. Floyd could possibly been on drugs. There is the fact that he had a fake $20 bill, and that's how this whole thing got started. There's so much going on, but at the end of the day, these are two people. I could bring race in, I could not. I'm just going to say these are two human beings who, by police officers in two separate countries, forcibly removed from a situation instead of calmly being explained what was happening. Why couldn't the police officers who approached Mr. Floyd calmly stated that the $20 bill that he gave the clerk did not believe was real? Why could the police officers in Dr. Rashid's case not go, oh, I see. Well, then we will stay in this room to make sure, nothing happens while your daughter is taken off life support. Because honestly, that's all that was really needed in either case. In my blog post, I will also be pointing out the situations I personally have dealt with police. I've had a mix. I've had some police officers, I will actually name one, Mr. Casey, who is a police officer that has my utmost respect in this area that I live in. But then I also have the situations of the police who honestly led up to the reasons why I got mixed in with certain issues. I will briefly summarize them in my blog if you guys are curious. And if you want, I may go into more detail later. At the time being, I don't want to. Maybe once I have my new computer and my new computer system set up, I might. I could also do a reaction video to these videos comparing and contrasting like I am now. I don't know if I want to do that. It was very hard to watch both videos, not to reach through the screen. What I want to talk about in this video more precisely is the comment section on both and the double standards of our society. If you watch Dr. Rashid's video and you compare it to any of the clips from Mr. Floyd, you will understand why I am stating this. I'm sure some of you are already going, oh, Mr. Floyd was resisting arrest and he's on drugs and he gave a fake $20 bill, and Dr. Rashid was just a parent that didn't want to leave his daughter's bedside manner and all this other stuff. What I want you guys to think about is how the police reacted in both videos. And you tell me if there's any difference. That is what I want you to keep in mind while I read these comments. Don't resist the police. He sounds like he was on drugs. Did he deserve to die in that manner? God decides how we leave here. He is a drug addict, a criminal. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. Unarmed man in handcuffs. No threat to anybody. The man is panicking and doesn't want to go to jail. You think they train officers to deal with these situations? Oh wait, they do. For someone who couldn't breathe, he sure was doing a lot of talking. Now, the comments under Dr. Rashid. Couldn't they have called a psychologist to counsel him? This is not an easy situation to accept. This is so sickening to watch, and I am sorry for these parents that this happened. Inhuman animals these cops are. So the child suffers this in her dying days, hearing her parents being attacked and dragged away. A parent should never have to bury a child. This family should be allowed to stay with their child and say goodbye when they are ready. Grieving parents who are both doctors working for the NHS. Surely this could have been dealt with in a more dignified way. Again, I kind of wish I did have a program so I could have played some clips from both these videos for you guys so you could see why I am so upset to the point I am going to make a video and possibly get canceled because I really don't give two fucks. This is the double standard of our society. In one situation, because the parents were grieving parents, of course everyone's going to back up the parents and tell the cops off. But in a situation where the cops acted the exact same way, but he sounded like he was on drugs, and oh my god, he had a fake $20 bill, he deserves the death penalty. And that is my 2 cents. Again, if you guys want to read a little bit more detail, I did go in a bit of a rant while I was summarizing these 2 videos in my blog. I also added a section talking about how my encounters with police have been over the years. And for the most part, they've basically been in the same vicinity. You know, it's been the same set of police that I have dealt with from the same police station, same county. Except for maybe the ones in my most earliest childhood, but then again, my hometown isn't far from where I am currently living. For me, I just want to point out that yes, there is human error, but where do you draw the line when it comes to human error and protect and serve? Was the police officer protecting and serving anyone by putting his knee on Mr. Floyd's neck and suffocating him to death? Could the police officers been calm, talk to Mr. Floyd calmly, and explain the situation to him instead of tackling him and putting him in handcuffs? Could the police officers in Dr. Rashid's case put 2 and 2 together and understood why the parents might have been upset with the hospital staff and stood by, understanding the situation? I want you guys to think on that. Comment below if you so wish, subscribe if you so wish, go to my blog and check it out if you so wish, follow me on Twitter if you so wish. I have fair warned you, you will be attacked by Monster X shit. In between my other shit, I apologize in advance, but at the same time, I don't give two fucks. I hope everyone is staying healthy, and hopefully we will survive the chaos that is going on in the world right now. Love you guys. Bye.